All right, anyway, now, the Aramaic paraphrase of Isaiah, produced by Jews who are not Christians. Produced by Jews who are not Christians. Okay? Produced by Jews who are not Christians. They're not Christians. They're not Trinitarians. These are Jews who translated the Old Testament into Aramaic for those Jews who could not read or write Hebrew anymore. So they also provided a commentary, meaning it's not simply a translation, it's a commentary giving you an idea of how the Jews understood these passages. But this is what I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you how they understood chapters and verses in Isaiah that are typically cited by Christians. You finished what? You're a hard here. So now let's start with this one here. The last one here, I think, is it? Or this one right here? Yep, let's do this here. Let's start. We ready? Class has begun. I'm now going to quote from the English translations. English translations. Let's focus here. Isaiah 9:6. Isaiah 9:6. Now, what is Isaiah 9:6? Okay, right here. If you go to my article, you click on it. Here it is, the Chaldee paraphrase on the prophet Isaiah by Jonathan ben Uziel, translated by C.W.H. Pauley. You can download it as a PDF free of charge. Isaiah 9:6 is the passage that says, "Unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given, and the government shall be upon his shoulders, and his name will be called Wonderful Counselor." Notice, Mighty God, El Gibor, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace. All right, now, the Jews who translated Isaiah into Aramaic, how did they interpret Isaiah 9? Because Tovia Singer will tell you this is not about Messiah, but Hezekiah. Anti-Christian rabbis who hate Jesus, who are worse than Muslims, will tell you Isaiah 9 is a prophecy of Hezekiah, not Messiah, like Tovia Swinger. Here is the Targum, the Chaldee paraphrase on the prophet Isaiah by Jonathan ben Uziel, translated by Reverend C.W.H. Pauley, pages 30-31, which is online. All right, let's see. How do they understood it? The prophet said to the house of David, "For unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given, and he has taken the law upon himself to keep it. His name is called from eternity, Wonderful, the Mighty God who liveth to eternity, the Messiah." Wow. Wait. Jews who are not Christians admit that Isaiah 9, 6, and 7 is a messianic prophecy. It's a messianic prophecy. And they admit it's prophesying the coming of Messiah, he who lives forever. Everyone got it? Focus. The Jews, huh? So why is Tovia Swinger and these other rabbis lying to you and deceiving you, giving you the impression that Isaiah 9 is about Hezekiah, not the Messiah? See what they're doing to you guys? They're playing on your ignorance. Whose peace shall be great upon us in his days? The greatness of those who do the law shall be magnified, and to those that preserve peace there shall be no end to the throne of David and of his kingdom, to establish it and build it in judgment and in righteousness from henceforth, even forever. By the word of the Lord of hosts, this shall be done. Now, here's the word again. But wait, here's another translation. The Targum of Isaiah by J.F. Stenning, page 32. The prophet saith to the house of David, a child has been born to us, a son has been given to us, and he has taken the law upon himself to keep it. And his name has been called of old, Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, he who lives forever, the Anointed One. The word Anointed One is a translation of Messiah, Mashiach, in whose days peace shall increase upon us. All right, what about this other rabbinic source, the Targum, Jewish paraphrase of Isaiah in Aramaic? But here, Midrash Rabbah, Deuteronomy. by Rabbi Dr. H. Friedman, Maurice Simon Editors, right, page 22. Who is this about, rabbis? Another explanation. He said to him, I have yet to raise up the Messiah, of whom it is written, for a child is born to us. Wait, the Midrash Rabbah says Isaiah 9 is about Messiah. He's a child that will be born. I'm going to show you now one of the greatest medieval rabbis that the Jews swear by till this day. Moses Maimonides, who hated Christianity, hated Islam, who wrote tracts attacking Islam, Christianity. A medieval rabbi, Moses Maimonides, who wrote the 13 Articles of Faith. All right? I need you to focus. What does he say about Isaiah 9? What do the rabbis say? The rabbis say about Isaiah 9, particularly Moses Maimonides, considered one of the greatest medieval rabbis and Jewish philosophers who hated Christianity and Islam, wasn't pro-Christian or pro-Islam, and he wrote the 13 Articles of Faith for Judaism. You can find it online. Moses Maimonides, 13 Articles of Faith, which Orthodox Jews swear by till this day. So he's not a joke, okay? So I need you to focus. So you go back here, again, description, and you click the last link. You finish. All right, here we go. You see it here? You guys focusing? Yep, circa 12th century. Considered one of the greatest Jewish philosophers, rabbis, who wrote tracts condemning Christianity and Islam and wrote the 13 Articles of Faith. Do it. Do a search on Google. Moses Maimonides, 13 Articles of Faith. If you're a true Jew, you have to affirm these 13 articles, one of which is you will eagerly wait for the Messiah, even if he tarries. Okay, everyone got it? Now watch. Look what he's going to do. I wrote this to expose Tovia Swinger. Now, this comes from a letter that he wrote to the Yemeni Jews. He was writing to the Jews in Yemen, which you can find online. Here, you click on it. Here it is. So people don't think I'm lying. This is the translation of Moses Maimonides' letter to the Jews in Yemen. Now, why did he write them a letter? Okay, now let me get you the context. Moses Maimonides' epistle to Yemen, translated 1952 by who? American Academy for Jewish Research. It's not Christians, all right? Published by American Academy for Jewish Research. Edited from manuscripts, instructions, and notes by Abraham S. Helkin. An English translation by Boaz Cohen. The Lewis M. and Minnie Epstein series, volume 1. Pages, Roman numerals 16 to 17. Okay? Why did he write this? All right. Well, particularly, there was a false Messiah who had arisen claiming to be the Messiah, and it was troubling the Jews. They didn't know, is this the Messiah? Is he really him? So Moses Maimonides writes to them and tells them, why are you being duped? Why are you being deceived and thinking he's a Messiah? We know the Messiah because of certain characteristics he has. Now watch what he's going to do. In this letter, he's going to quote Isaiah 9:6, Isaiah chapter 11, verses 104, and Psalm 2:7 as all prophecies of the Messiah. Are you hearing this, Christians? Tovia Swinger, the cow, and other rabbis will tell you Isaiah 9 is not about Messiah, or Psalm 2 is not about Messiah in order to lie to you and deceive you. Yet one of their greatest rabbis, Moses Maimonides, admitted Isaiah 9:6 is about Messiah, not Hezekiah. Isaiah 11 is about Messiah, and Psalm 2 is about Messiah. So let's read it. It's right there. That's why I say 99% of your objections have been answered. Just do a search on my YouTube or my blog or answeringislam.info. Type in Maimonides, Swinger, whatever you want, you'll find it. Now let's read. Quote, commenting on a false messianic claimant who appeared in Yemen, Maimonides wrote, watch, look. He's talking about that false Messiah. Do these characteristics make him a Messiah? You were beguiled by him because you have not considered the preeminence of the Messiah, the manner and place of his appearance, and the marks whereby he is to be identified. The Messiah indeed ranks after Moses in eminence distinction, and God has bestowed some gifts upon him, on Messiah, which he did not bestow on Moses. What are the gifts that God gives Messiah that he didn't give to Moses? Look what he quotes. This is Maimonides. This is not a Christian. As be gathered from the verses, his delight shall be in the fear of the Lord. Oh, Isaiah 11. He applied Isaiah 11 to Messiah. The Spirit of the Lord shall be rest upon him. Now notice, that's 3. Spirit, Lord, him. That's 3. Pay attention why it's important. God's Spirit will be working with Messiah. And he's quoting Isaiah 11. And righteousness shall be the girdle of his loins. That's Isaiah 11. But now watch Isaiah 9. Now, in the English translation of the Hebrew Old Testament, it's not Isaiah 9:6, it's Isaiah 9:5. Keep that in mind. 6 appellations were divinely conferred upon him. 6 titles were given to who? Messiah. But where do you get this from? As the following passage indicates, for a child is born unto us, and a son is given unto us, and the government is upon his shoulder, and he's called Pele, that's wonderful, Yoetz, counselor, Il, that's God, Gibor, mighty, Abiad, everlasting Father, Father of eternity, Sar Shalom. Wait. Maimonides said Isaiah 9 is about Messiah, and God gives Messiah 6 titles, descriptions, and Isaiah 11 is about Messiah. And if Isaiah 9 is about Messiah, he just admit Messiah is called El Gibor, God the Mighty. But now watch another one. And another verse alluding to the Messiah is the following manner, thou art my son, this day I've begotten thee. Damn. If I didn't tell you this was a Jew, you would think this is a Christian. Look what he says. All these statements demonstrate the preeminence of the Messiah. Now look what I say here. In accepting the Messianic interpretation of the aforementioned text, Maimonides ends up confirming the Christian view that Jesus the Messiah is the only begotten Son of God, Psalm 2:7. Today I've begotten you. And also the very mighty God that became flesh for our salvation. But also notice, if he's the Son of God, he's not the Father. But if he's the mighty God, he's God in the flesh. And notice it says, the Spirit of the Lord is on him. Isaiah 11. So the Messiah is not the Spirit. The Spirit is not the Lord. That sure sounds like the Trinity. What? So God's Spirit works with the Messiah. So the Messiah and the Spirit are not the same person. And since it's the Spirit of the Lord, he's not the Lord. And since the Lord begot him, then the Messiah is not the Father, but his Son. But then the Messiah is the mighty God in the flesh. Boy, that sure sounds like the Trinity. And yet he wasn't trying to affirm the Trinity. You see how blinded they are? Let me shock you. Did you know one of the foremost 20th century rabbis, Dr. Emmanuel Shochet, who debated Michael Brown, wrote an article castigating, chiding rabbis for lying to non-Jews about the rabbinic interpretation of Isaiah 53 and other passages? He called them out saying, what are you doing? Don't you understand the non-Jews will be reading our rabbis, and they're going to see our rabbis acknowledging that these passages that they quote is about Messiah? Why are you doing this? Why are you disgracing us? Here it is. The article's right here. A leading Jewish rabbi exposes the duplicity of Jewish anti-Christian missionaries. You mind me if I read this? You want to see? He had to rebuke them because he's saying to them, dude, you're embarrassing us. Tovia Singer, you rabbis, you're embarrassing us. Because don't you know they're reading our sources and they're going to see in the Talmud and other sources, the rabbis admit that these passages about Messiah, you're doing no one a favor by denying it. Here it is. I gave you the link to the article. But I'll show you where I got it from so people don't think I'm making it up. All right. This is Emmanuel Shochet, and he debated Michael Brown. You can find it. Here it is. You go here, Web Archive. You click, and there it goes. The Professor, Messiah, and Scandal of Calumnies. I had to get it on archive.org. It's right here. Review essay by Rabbi J. Emanuel Choquette. Okay. One of the leading rabbinic Jewish philosopher scholars, the late Rabbi Joseph Emanuel Choquette, candidly admitted in his review of a work by a fellow Jewish scholar that rabbis often employ weak, meaning not so honest, arguments to refute Christians, which they know do not necessarily reflect the actual Jewish position of a particular subject. Watch what he's going to say. One of the examples he uses to illustrate this fact is the counter-missionary claim that Isaiah 53 is not speaking the Messiah. So Emmanuel Choquette is telling you, when a Jew tells you Isaiah 53 is not about Messiah, he's lying to you. He's a liar and lying in your face. So I quote, this is him. Look what he says. Dr. Berger, listen to this. Dr. Berger, okay, this should be gold and music to your ears, relies heavily on arguments of medieval polemics. It is of major concern to him that one of the defining characteristics of Judaism in a Christian world will have been erased by the possibility of a resurrected Messiah. So he's concerned that if you believe Messiah has been raised, right, from the dead, that means the Messiah dies. And there's no room for that in rabbinic Judaism, which is a lie. So look what he says. In truth, of course, the Jewish faith is defined by its own tradition and not by its differences from Christianity. Polemical debates, regardless of its participants, are neither definitive nor authoritative. Whether you win or lose a debate, that does not prove or disprove the truth of Judaism. That's what he's saying. Watch. The Talmudic rabbis engage in such debates as well. Oftentimes, they conceded. He's admitting the rabbis are acknowledging, the rabbis are admitting in their sources that they use lies, trickery, deceit against their opponents. Look, he's saying this. Oftentimes they, the Talmudic rabbis, conceded that they rebuffed their opponents with straw or broken reeds, i.e., that their responses were no more than polemical tactics and not their true positions. Damn. He just admitted to you that the rabbinic Jews and the Muslims have the same spirit, have the same father, the devil, because what did Jesus say to the Jews who rejected him? You are of your father, the devil. He's a liar and a murderer. And he just admit the rabbis were no better than the Muslims because like the Muslims, they would lie and deceive their opponents, to their opponents. You see it? You caught it? So that's why never trust what a rabbi tells you. They have no respect for you. They are allowed to lie to you and deceive you just like Muslims because they have the same spirit until they repent. Now we pray that rabbis wake up and come to the true God and see this cannot be from God. Now he gives an example of the rabbis lying to you. A typical example would be the Jewish responses about the suffering servant of Isaiah 53. An example of rabbis lying to you. Look what he's going to say. The polemicists follow the majority opinion of medieval Jewish exegetes that it speaks of the Jewish people. Now, he's admitting in a medieval period, the rabbis started saying Isaiah 53 is about the nation. But why? As opposed to the Christian claim that it speaks of the Messiah. This view is found also among some Talmudic rabbis. Now look, this is him. It does not negate, however, the validity of the pervasive Talmudic, Midrashic, Zoharic interpretation that the subject of the chapter is indeed Mashiach. Damn! He's admitting you that the dominant pervasive interpretation in the Talmud, in the Midrash, in the Zohar, is that Isaiah 53 is about Messiah. You see it? But now look what he says. In this same context, Dr. Berger draws ammunition for his attack from the fact that Christian missionaries now argue that the claims of messiahship for the, I have a hard time pronouncing this word, Lubavitcher Rebbe. Now, if you don't know who the Lubavitcher Rebbe is, he's Rabbi Menachem Schneerson. He died in the 90s. Let me tell you about him. This guy had a cult following. Lubavitcher Rebbe, Rabbi Schneerson. Do a Google. They started praising him as Messiah. When he died, his followers started quoting Isaiah 53 about him. They started saying he died of sickness, but he'll be resurrected again as Messiah, because that's what Isaiah 53 says about Messiah. Did you hear it? So what is Emmanuel Shochet telling you? When the followers of the Lubavitcher Rebbe started quoting Isaiah 53 about Schneerson, they started saying, no. He is Moshiach. He died of sickness because Isaiah 53 said Messiah would die of sickness. So he died, but then he'll see the light of life because Isaiah 53 says Messiah will be resurrected. So we're waiting for him to be resurrected. So the Christians said, aha, we got you. We got you, Jews. You have been condemning us for reading Isaiah 53 as a prophecy that Messiah would be killed, die for our sins, but be resurrected, and showing you Jesus fulfilled it. But now you're admitting that's exactly what Isaiah 53 is saying. We caught you, but you just got the wrong Messiah. You caught it? You see how God makes them look stupid and embarrasses them? Do you understand what he's saying here? Okay, let me repeat. Don't take my word for it. Sheikh Google is the greatest scholar next to me. You put in Rabbi Schneerson. His followers started praising him as the Messiah, and he had a cult following, and he would send his followers out. He would send his followers out to try to convert the Gentiles. And so they said he's the Moshiach. They even have centers in his name. But he got sick and died, and they were devastated. They were devastated. But then they said, no. This is part of the prophecy. What prophecy? Isaiah 53. What do you mean? Because the word for he bore our griefs, that word can also mean he bore our sicknesses. See, he got sick because he was bearing our sickness. And Isaiah 53 says Messiah will die, but then God would raise him to see the light of light. So he will be raised. And when he's raised, that will prove he's the Messiah. You got it? So that means these Orthodox Jews were admitting Isaiah 53 is predicting the death of Messiah and his resurrection. But they applied it to Rabbi Schneerson. And so Emmanuel Shochet is saying, the Christians are on to you. You can't hide this. The Christians are on to you. You can't hide this. Because the Talmud, the Midrash, the Zohar, pervasively applies Isaiah 53 to Messiah. And they're reading our sources. And secondly, they're now on to you because you're saying Rabbi Schneerson died of sickness because Isaiah 53 prophesied Messiah, whom you claim is Schneerson, would die of sickness and be resurrected. They're on to you. So what are you going to say to them now? You're going to say it's not about Messiah? You just busted yourselves. So let's continue reading. In this same context, Dr. Berger draws ammunition for his attack from the fact that Christian missionaries now argue that the claims of messiahship for the Lubavitcher Rebbe support and vindicate the Christian allegations of a second coming. How? Well, hold on. If Rebbe died, that means he'll be resurrected. And if he's resurrected, that means he'll return. You got busted, rabbis. You just confirmed the Christian view. Messiah comes the first time to be killed, resurrected, and will return. Damn, you buried yourselves. He ignores the fact, and he's chiding this Jewish author. So Emmanuel Shochet is rebuking the Jewish author. He ignores the fact that for the longest time, these Christians have claimed that authentic Jewish sources support and vindicate the messiahship of Jesus. They keep republishing books which cite numerous passages from Talmud, Midrash, Zohar, Jewish Bible commentaries, and other works to validate their arguments. Now look what he says. Are we now to erase these quotations from our heritage? So what do you want us to do now? Go erase them? We can't lie to them anymore. They're on to us, dude. Let's just be honest and say, yeah, it's about Messiah, but it's not Jesus. See? So I say, there you have it, folks. Next time an anti-missionary tries to employ, let me know, tries to employ, it's supposed to be employ, not employ, is a straw or broken reed to rebuff the messianic interpretation of Isaiah 53, simply quote to him the words of this prominent and renowned Jewish scholar and philosopher of the 20th, 21st century. Okay? So far with me, you got it? We're on to them.